Welcome back to another episode of Gumball Love. I'm your host, Melissa Ledger, and today I'm going to talk to you about something, I don't know if it's weird, but I just listened to this other podcast about, okay, I have to calm down because I'm already just like, I was like, don't do a podcast right now because you're just pissed off. But okay, here's what it was about. This whole topic of monogamy not being natural, and that women are exploring different parts of their sensuality, and sometimes they figure out that they want multiple partners, and that the female orgasm is so under like researched, and there's so much for people to explore. Do you know this conversation where there's all kinds of books about it? Although I looked up this person's book and it's extremely unsuccessful, even though it was on a very popular podcast. And I don't mean to be mad at that individual, but I'm just mad at this whole topic because even they brought up 50 Shades of Grey and talked about how women were really exploring their sexuality, and now all this S&M is becoming popular. Like, is it really? I'm going to research this because it got me fired up enough to where I'm going to really work to find the evidence behind, is monogamy or what they call it, non-monogamy, a new thing where people feel like they are, basically the argument was people feel like they are inhibited by this whole, is inhibited the right word? They feel constrained by having this relationship, and they're having these desires. And then she said the magic word, they're bored. Aw, are you bored? Okay, here's the thing. I don't care how glamorous we try to make sex, because I'm like, okay, at the end, there's sexual organs, and then there's an orgasm on both sides, right? I mean, this is like the beginning and the end. And because I'm not going to get sexually graphic here, but it's like, yes, sex can be great. It can be extremely enjoyable, but it is a physical component. So I don't care how extravagant this gets. I don't care how adventurous you get with sex. It still has a beginning and an end. It's an experience. It's not a lifestyle. I mean, or you could have a lifestyle of multiple sexual experiences, but what happens when it's done? Then what? You know what I mean? Like, I'm pausing because I want you to think about, when you hear about these lifestyles, people aren't looking for sex. They're looking for connection. They feel lonely. They feel hurt. They're feeling pain. And so these people there's a lot of people out there that are willing to have kinky, weird sex. But it's just a physical feeling. It's like, okay, you had a great orgasm. Congratulations. Like, who cares? Do you have a good relationship? Or are you going to go back home and feel sad and lonely again? Sorry, I knocked over my bottle. I'm getting all, you know what I mean? Like, this is not the fun. People are not going, man, I'm so lonely. I really need some sex. No, sex is the way we connect. Let's stop glamorizing it. Let's stop hanging. I mean, like, if you want to have all the kinky sex in the world, that's fine. But it's not going to fulfill you if you're with somebody who doesn't care about you when it's over. It's going to be another gumball. Yeah, it'll be great during the moment. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But it's just like a really great meal or a really great dessert. It's another gumball. Let's stop let's stop doing research. I mean, they were actually doing research on fruit flies. I'm like, oh, the fruit flies were having sex with other partners. That's like, well, are we fruit flies? Like, well, how big is a fruit fly brain? I mean, like, stop it. Like, I'm just like, I don't care if thousands of years ago people had multiple partners. I guarantee you, even back then, people were feeling sad. People were feeling a lack of connection. People weren't feeling loved. It's like, this is not rocket science. 50 Shades of Grey was not about kinky sex. 50 Shades of Grey is a repackaged fairy tale about converting the emotionally unavailable man into the family guy. It's not about the red room. They hardly even showed that stuff in the movie. Like, did we really see what she wrote about in the book? Not very much. And a lot of it looked boring. Those actors had like zero chemistry. It just felt so, I found myself like uncomfortably clenching. Like, it was just like, this doesn't feel like, it should have been like super hot, like we should have all been like, oh my gosh, this is like, I want to like look away and then look back. But instead it was like, it gave me the feeling of a Lifetime movie or something. It was just like, this feels awkward. And you know why? Because she didn't feel comfortable and he hated the character. He hated being that guy. And so it was just like, oh, why didn't they make Chuck Bass Christian Grey? Anyway, it's like, I mean, if you're going to do it, let's find the people that can really pull it off. And it's not like I think they did a terrible job, because I actually feel like when he was portraying him as the character, although I could have stood for some better acting and less like stressed out, I don't know, he just seemed so like calculated with his, I don't know, he just seemed very dramatic with every line. It was a little too Young and the Restless feeling. But anyway, his demeanor was dead on in so many things. Like, I was watching him like, man, that is so how gumball guys interact and how they like how they want the intensity, and they're looking like Christian Grey. You guys, you know what? Here's the thing. They're all these people that are looking for these weird sex things. They're bored in their life. These people have nothing to do. I'm serious. And I don't mean like to put them down, but if I could talk to them and be like, you know what are you doing? Why are you looking for gumball sex? Yeah, I'm sure you could find all these different ways to entertain yourself, but why are you this bored? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many incredibly fulfilling things that you can do that are way better than any orgasm. There just are. There's just so many. Like, I mean, the ability to help women on this platform and watch them change their lives. Like, right now, I have all these women that are in the Back to You Academy, and they are saying things like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much I needed this group. You know what? I haven't been taking care of myself. I need to organize my whole house. I've been sitting here pouting, and now I'm realizing I need to do this. And you know what? I am going to take that class. And you know what? I have been overthinking this whole thing. And you know what? We have a registered dietitian that's going to come in and speak to our academy, and actually on this podcast as well. And like, people are getting excited, and it's like, that is so incredibly fulfilling when you are in your purpose and you are making a difference in people's lives and you are challenging yourself and you're outside of your comfort zone. I mean, that is where the magic of life is, helping other people, being in the fight and in the struggle and achieving milestones. I'm sorry, but there is no better high than that. The average sexual experience is 2 to 8 minutes. 2 to 8 minutes. I mean, we cannot have a lifestyle that's built around 2 to 8 minute experiences. And okay, if you drag it out and, you wear costumes and build your red room, it's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it feels so shallow to have these lifestyles built around sex. I mean, the happiest couples have great sex, but the great sex comes from their connection with each other. And that's a lot of what these people are seeking. I guarantee you, there's a lot of proof around it. And I just jumped on this podcast just annoyed, and I'm going to really dive into this because one of the comments, and if you listen to this podcast, you're going to know which one I'm talking about. One of the comments, someone said that a friend of theirs hires escorts, and he doesn't always ask them to have sex. Sometimes he just wants to cuddle with them. He just wants that feeling of connection. Hello. Do you know how many guys hire prostitutes to do that? There's actually a whole service where you can have somebody come over and cuddle with you on the couch. I saw did you see that? It was like a Dateline or 2020. I mean, it's like so gross to think I mean, I just can't imagine cuddling up to a stranger. But this is where the real fundamental desire is coming from. And I think people try to mask these weird sexual appetites or lifestyles because it does get them connected with other people. And maybe people do. I know people have fantasies and they have a lot of different interests. And I'm not really here to analyze that because to each his own and everybody's got their deal. But I really think that those kinds of interests create communities of people where they're connecting. And they're not just showing up like robots in these communities and even in these weird sex communes. They're getting to know each other. And then real feelings develop. And I have studied some of these where real feelings start to develop and people get their feelings hurt because they came there for sex. They developed feelings. Maybe they developed more feelings than the other person. And then the whole thing falls apart because, hi, we have emotions. It's not just about the orgasm. It's not. You're kidding yourself. These people that think, oh yeah, I'm just having a one night stand. No, you're not. You want intimacy. Even these players. I've proven all of this. I've done this in other podcasts, but I feel like I need to do this again. Like it's all been proven. Players are so needy for connection, but they're so afraid of intimacy. So they have moments, they allow it in temporarily, and then they act like they don't want it. They have all these excuses. But if you've ever been on the receiving end of the player really needing the connection, you can see it's not about sex. That's where they get all lovey-dovey and schmoopy. They want it, but they're afraid to let you see them, really. Because then if they let you in, then they feel all vulnerable and naked. So they keep moving on and having gumball relationships. They keep going from one dopamine rush to the other. And that's the addiction to the attention. It's really like knockoff intimacy. It's like, I want intimacy, but I'm going to have it in the short little gumball form. And then I'm going to keep moving from one. They can't ever, they don't realize that, yeah, this, you experienced it short term, but if you let yourself actually connect with somebody, then you don't have to worry about the chasing all the time. This has to be exhausting. It really has to be exhausting. So I want to just come on and say, don't listen to this BS. These people are not discovering this alternative lifestyle that really fulfills their deepest desires, and they're really connecting with bits like, shut up. You're full of BS. You want connection, you want love, and this kinky sex thing or whatever you're doing, it's just, it's another road to hoping you find love. I guarantee it. I don't care. Write me emails, tell me I'm wrong. I'd love to hear you fight me on this, because it's like, if you want to fight me, you come on this podcast and defend that. I want to hear it. I would love to debate somebody that's like, no, Melissa, monogamy is not natural. And here's why. Really? I want to hear the person tell me, because every time you hear these people interviewed, if you're really listening to it, it's like, they just want the connection. They want the love. And even couples that have open relationships, it's like, well, why are you giving yourselves the opportunity to explore somebody else? And they'll say they get bored. Well, it's like, bored? And then you go have sex with somebody else. It's like, you got bored, so you got a dopamine rush. You're looking for a high. You just used a person for a drug. Hey, you're going to get me high for a while. I'm going to use you. Hey, thanks so much. And I'm going to go back to my husband. Why did you need to get high? This is what we need to really be asking. It's not this complicated. I just listen to these people like go on about, they feel like they have these complex needs that really need to be fulfilled. It's like, okay, so in all that complexity, you just had sex? Like what really happened? Or did you have a conversation? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Let's break it down to the ridiculous. Okay, I'm bored. I'm feeling unfulfilled in the moment, but I am in a relationship. But now it's like, ooh, sure, this is going to happen your whole life. There's going to be attractive people. You might have chemistry. So if you explore it, okay, now what? What are you exploring? Sex? Orgasms? Fun feelings? It's gumballs. You want attention. You want a high or a rush. You're bored. Why? Because you, not your partner, you allowed yourself to become boring. You don't have anything to do. What are you doing with your life? I guarantee you that those people, if they had a speech booked in front of 10,000 people that same week, that wouldn't be the same week they were like, I'm really feeling they'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to speak in front of 10,000 people. I got to prepare this speech. I've got to practice it. I'm going to practice it in the living room in front of people. And maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be focused on that. Or would you be super bored and looking for your fulfillment outside of your relationship if like you were going to be on Super Soul Sunday with Oprah and sit under the oak tree? Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt you would be like, oh, or if you were going to perform on a stage, like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to fill your life with the stuff that makes you feel alive, because an orgasm here or there with a random is not going to do it for you. Sorry, your kinky sex is not a hobby, you guys. It's not. And if you're making it a hobby, it's like 2 to 8 minutes. And then what? 2 to 8, 2 to 8. I should just start saying that. Like 2 to 8. Okay. Congratulations on your fabulous orgasm. Now what are you going to do? Now how do you feel about that person that's sitting there naked across from you? And when they get dressed and leave, like, how do you feel about that? This is what you do on dates when you're tempted, but you just imagine them getting dressed and walking out the door. It's like, yeah, I don't want that feeling because I don't know this person well enough. And I know myself well enough to know that I will feel bad and I will feel rejected, because that's the part they don't talk about. Yeah, what about that rejection feeling that comes after? What about that feeling of they don't want to hang out with me? Everybody, you know what I mean? Like you're not super pumped like, yeah, I want to have kinky sex, and then I'm super excited for the part they don't want to hang out with me after. Said no one ever. Nobody wants that. Let's stop pretending that this is some kind of lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle. Sex is not a lifestyle. Sorry, it's not. I know, right? I want somebody to argue with me. It's like, yeah, come in here and argue with me. Fuck, no one that listens to this podcast will probably argue with me, but it just makes me so mad. It's just like, it's just, it's part of what we do. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. I don't mean to downplay it, because I really feel like I'm not really called to talk about sex. I just want to, like, that's not what the Gumball Love whole message is about. It's about making us aware of when we're just chasing a temporary high versus what's actually going to be deeply satisfying. And I have never seen any philosopher or really deep thinker ever say the key to life and the key to fulfillment and the key to really laying on your deathbed with no regret is a lifestyle filled with endless streams of random kinky sex with people you don't know. I mean, it just sounds like, wow, ridiculous. So let's stop researching animals that have a lifestyle, because we're not animals. Our brains are much more complex. We are so much more evolved. We're emotional. We have the need to connect. And you know what? If you want to look at animals, you can, because some of them do it better. Like the bald eagle does it better than any human. I watched bald eagles like a dork one time for like forever. The Decorah eagles, and then there's one in Minnesota. And I was like, the male and female bald eagle sit in that nest and parent and hang out together for hours on end through snowstorms, covering those babies. Like you can pull up pictures of a mom, and the mom and dad both sit on the eggs, both go hunt, and they will sit on those eggs or those babies in the middle of a blizzard and let themselves get completely covered in ice and snow and never move a muscle. Just dedication, just total commitment. But all these alternative lifestyles are just, it's kind of like if we were to relate this to dieting, be like, I really feel like I need the kind of the diet that is just mainly chocolate and pizza and like cheesecake, because I really feel that the experience that I have when I eat that, it's so amazing. And I just prefer that lifestyle. It's like, you can prefer that lifestyle all you want, but it's not going to actually fulfill you. It's nice. Cheesecake tastes good. Ice cream tastes good. Chocolate tastes good, but it's temporary. So you really know what you actually have to do to feel good. You've got to eat vegetables and protein and drink your water. You know what I mean? Like, we know what we have to do. We just don't want to. And then when we're feeling like we want a little, like we want that dopamine rush, we eat sugar because it tastes good. It's fun. It's once in a while in moderation, But I mean, you can't look at this tasty little treat like, ooh, I'm really feeling like drawn to, and they're talking about married women that all of a sudden realize that they want to have an affair with another woman. It's like, well, then you're a lesbian. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. It's just like, I really struggle with people who feel like they're bisexual, because even in Carrie Bradshaw's Sex and the City, she goes, I just feel like bisexual is the last exit on the way to gay town. I mean, it's like, let's not make married women having a lifestyle of having, like, they're married to men, but then their alternative lifestyle is having sex with other women. It's like, this is just, then she's a lesbian, and then she should divorce her husband and be a lesbian. It's like, let's not create lifestyles out of these bad habits or circumstances that are really going to hurt other people. This is what really bothers me. It's like, you can't create a lifestyle that is absolutely just killing somebody else. That's just like breaking their heart and making them absolutely miserable. This is how we know that this quote unquote lifestyle that we're choosing is just completely like, it's promoting it's all about me. It's all about my needs. These are gumball people writing gumball books about their gumball addictions and all their little kinky things that they're trying to justify. I was just saying, like, you're trying to justify this BS lifestyle because you want to be able to see the temptation and give into it every time. And you want to call it your new lifestyle. BS. That is absolutely unacceptable. No, you don't get to be in a relationship and then go be with somebody else because you just feel like it right now. You're going to I feel like having ice cream every day, but I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, this is just so simple because I don't care how you need to deeply uncover all your sexual desires and your fantasies. And then all of a sudden you find yourself outside. I mean, if you really focus on that stuff long enough, I'm sure you could find all kinds of weird things that you would fantasize about. But like, what's the point? I mean, is it like, I always joke about marijuana. Sorry if you smoke pot, but people are like, why won't you just smoke pot? Like, I'm like, no one ever said my life was really going downhill. But when I started smoking pot, it's when I turned around and started achieving all my goals and things really came together. Said no one ever. Like, I don't know of any really successful people that are regular pot smokers or that are really excessive drinkers, like that have, I'm sure some are pulling it off, but just when we are dependent on something else to get us high, we're escaping something. We need that to numb us. And I know this is like intense and dramatic, but I don't care. Like, I think somebody needs to be like, oh, come on. This is BS. Like, this isn't a lifestyle. This is you wanting you're in a relationship, but that looks good over there. Oh, I think I have a deep desire to fulfill that. I think this is part of me as a woman to really explore that. Shut up. Like, no, this is also part of you that has to have a self-esteem and a self-worth. And if you're in a relationship, you have to honor that relationship. And it's like, if you go outside of it, then you're hurting the person you're with. That means you don't respect yourself and you don't respect your partner. Can you tell I'm fired up about it? I'm just like, this is justifying. And hey, I'm not perfect. I have made mistakes. But when we make mistakes and we realize we're hurting other people, or I've had the married guy pursue me years ago and realize, oh my gosh, there's a wife behind here. And, he said this and made me and lied. Basically, sometimes these married men are lying to you, telling you, oh, I'm separated, or we're getting divorced, or we don't even sleep in the same bedroom and blah, blah. And then you end up caught up in this situation. But in reality, they're just bored. They're bored. They want to have fun with you for a while. And it doesn't feel good to be the girl it doesn't feel good to be the person used for that. So also, even if you're exploring your alternative lifestyle, who are you exploring it with and how is it affecting that person? I just feel like the people that are doing this, it's another drug addiction. It's another manifestation of the gumball. It's another flavor of attention. It's another high, and it's an escape from something else because that experience does not lead to fulfillment. No one says, okay, if you're having this experience in your life, then if you have a series of this type of sex, it's going to really give you clarity and help you. No, that's not the case. It's just not. So I'm not here to tell you what to do or what's right or wrong. Maybe I did tell you a little bit, but I'm just, what I'm saying is like, I'm not necessarily, I am judging. I'm judging the lifestyle. I'm judging the justification for the lifestyle. That's what I'm doing because it's like, don't tell me it's about exploring. And I think the people that create this would be like, oh, you're absolutely wrong because they don't want to admit, yeah, I really deep down, I don't feel good about myself. And these temporary highs and fixes, this gumball sex, this gumball alternative makes me feel good. And I like the idea that I've made it okay for myself to pursue it so that when I get that craving, I'm bored, I want something. Oh, what sounds good? I think I'll go do that. an opportunity. They want the ability to justify it. It's just like if if a guy says, I want an open relationship, all he's saying is, when an opportunity presents itself and it looks fun and exciting, I don't want to be constrained by somebody telling me I can't. So it means that he's not connected and he doesn't have intimacy with his partner. Because if you're trying to seek that fulfillment and that high from somewhere else, it's a manifestation of some other problem deep down. Where if we could make this a physical drug that people could take, then you would see, oh, they want that drug again. They want that high. They want that fix. It's dopamine. It's powerful. It's a powerful feeling, like somebody desiring you, somebody really wanting you, someone being really attracted to you. It's powerful. But I'll tell you, I've been able to temper that a lot because I'm not interested in just that. I want somebody that sees my brain, that sees my values, that sees my lifestyle, that can live life with you, because there's your natural high right there. Like the person that's out running and they get the runner's high, that's because their body is operating at its fullest potential. And that's the healthy high. That's like where you have fed your body properly, you have hydrated it properly, your muscles are functioning at peak performance. Those are the things that are ultimately fulfilling. Create amazing content and put it online and change people's lives. That's fulfilling. Teach a child something new that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. That's fulfilling. Be there for a friend when they really need you, and look at the look of gratitude on their face and know that you provided comfort, you provided help or support. That's what's fulfilling. Ultimately, the one thing that's going to give you the most fulfillment is finding your purpose and living in it. There's nothing more exciting than that. I guarantee you. When you figure out what you're on this earth to do and you start doing it, all of your talents, your skills, and your abilities start to sync up with that thing. And then you see, oh, I can do this. I can do that. Oh, wait. Then all of a sudden, all these ideas start coming and brainstorming, and creativity just starts overflowing. Let me tell you something. When you start creating and you start helping other people and you see how everything that you have fits into this world, you're not going to be looking for kinky sex. You're not, because it's temporary. 2 to 8, 2 to 8, 2 to 8 minutes. It's done. Ding, the timer. It's like, here I have this Pomodoro timer, this little thing. So it's like, okay, here's your kinky sex. Oh, it's done now. Are you happy? Yeah, right now you're feeling good. About in 30 minutes. Then how do you feel? Where's the person you had sex with? Are they still here? Do they care? What do they do every day? What do they do after the 2 to 8? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I just was listening to it going, and then when they brought up 50 Shades of Grey, I was like, oh no, don't try to make that into women are awakening their sexual desires. It's like, because then they were talking about how women have all this variety in what they want, and men are so simplistic in what they want. And so that women have all this stuff to explore. And it's just like, okay, you know what? I mean, I just explore it all you want. Like, I'm all about it, but it's like this idea that a new person or these new experiences or this new lifestyle is going to be so fulfilling. It's just other human beings. You know what I mean? It's not that glamorous. People make a lot of money of glamorizing stuff that really isn't that glamorous. Talk to a guy who's had a threesome. I've talked to a few guys that have had threesomes, and they're like, yeah, I've had one. It's not that great. And very, very few people are like, oh yeah, I've had one and it's great. Sometimes the idea seems sexy, but the mechanics, and we don't really know each other and we're not really connected, and it's like awkward and it's not that great. So even on Friends, I remember when Joey Ross had one when his wife was really a lesbian, and he was like, not that great, huh? And he was like, not really. He's like, did you get a little bit bored? A little bit. I made a sandwich. I just remember that part. A little bit. I made a sandwich. What kind of sandwich did you have? And he was like, oh, it was like turkey, tomato. Sounds good. It really was good. Heck, we end up talking about the sandwich because it's not that exciting. It's just not. I've talked to players. When are you having great sex? Are you having great sex with strangers? Not really. Who are you having great sex with? Somebody I know. Somebody I'm really connected with. Somebody I have. Oh, what is it? Intimacy. What is intimacy? Friendship. I know this person cares about me. I know that. The great sex is when you can let yourself go and know you're not being judged, that that person fully cares about you, and you feel that warmth and that connection. And that's what's beautiful about it. I mean, if that couple wants to be creative and they want to go all 50 shades of gray, knock yourself out. If you have that intimacy and that connection, then you can have all the fun you want and do whatever and go on your adventures. But don't mistake the adventure all by itself as something that can fulfill you, because it won't. Not without the intimacy. So I came on here to say, and I should have said it in the beginning, that intimacy, sex without intimacy is not fulfilling. And it is not a lifestyle. Sex without intimacy is not a lifestyle. It is a drug addiction. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to prove that, because I really believe that, as angry as this makes me, I still think about those people in that lifestyle. And if you're in that lifestyle, I would love to talk to you, because I know I've talked to some of them. They're sad. They're so sad because at the root, they just want love. And I really believe that. So I want to shake this up, because people want love. They want connection. They want to know that they matter. They want to know that they're not the only ones going through pain. That stuff is just not, it's just not going to work, you guys. And then aside from that, I was thinking about whenever we get all hung up on being single, I mean, just think of all the people that are in countries where it is just, they're starving to death. They have no clean water. I was watching I forget the company now that makes his whole mission is to make clean water all over the planet. And how many, he said 1 out of 6 people have clean water? I think it's 5. It used to be 1 out of 10 and now it's 1 out of 6. And he made this huge impact. I can't remember, but anyway, it's if you have clean water, you're I have bottled water and clean water coming out of the tap. We have clean water. You have a shower, you have a home, you have a roof over your head. I just find it so selfish to have such an incredible life. And when people sit and then they're sitting there trying to explore better orgasms with random communities of people because they're bored. It's just you're bored. There's so much to do on this earth besides explore your orgasm needs with random sexual partners. It's get it together. You know what I mean? Let's get some perspective on that. This world needs a lot of help from a lot of us. And if we get focused on our purpose, we can make a huge impact that can change so many things. Married couples need to be speaking up more and helping. We need to be teaching relationships in school. We need people more focused on clean water and how we can feed people and how we can help people. We need more mental health discussions in school so people stop committing suicide, or, that teenagers that have divorced parents, or that have dads that run out of them, or parents that are addicted to drugs. I mean, there are so many massive issues. So when I hear people really contemplating these ridiculous lifestyles because they're bored and they don't have anything to do, I just think how pathetic. How pathetic. Not the people that are in the lifestyles, because I feel like those people could be lost and they're looking for fulfillment. I'm more angry at the content creators, the people that are writing books that justify this lifestyle, that try to make money off of really creating communities of people that perpetuate their pain. Don't create this crap content that absolutely destroys people's lives because they're out there looking for connection really deep down, and all they're getting is 2 to 8. 2 to 8, and then they're left by themselves again. And that's it. It's done. It's over. It's a gumball experience. And then they're still in pain. And then that person could kill themselves after, because this is not fulfilling. It's not. And there's so many more important things that we could be doing with our life and our time and our efforts. There's kids that need your help. There are elderly people that are sitting there by themselves. There's so much. And I don't feel like we have to, every time we do something, we have to think of all the starving people and blah, blah, blah. I understand that, we're only, I think about, we watch the news and whatever side you're on, it just looks like constant drama. And so I often remind myself, I've gotten this message. I believe, given to me by God called Gumball Love to help people understand that they're getting temporary fixes. And I'm really trying to get the message of long-term intimacy and lasting love and what really matters, and that you can be happily single and you can lead a fulfilling life and you need to connect to your purpose. Like, this is my mission, right? So I can't fixate on the news every day and worry about everything. I have to figure out what I'm here to do and do that job and still stay aware of those things and use the extra money to contribute and donate to those causes and find things where I can help and be a part of my community. Absolutely. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that these things, that these books that are written, these movies that are made, it's like gumball entertainment. You know, it seems interesting to talk about, but I feel like it really, it's almost like telling a drug addict to really get into the different kinds of drugs they want to try and why they want to try them and how each one makes them feel. I mean, you know, I'm sure like heroin makes you feel this way and cocaine makes you feel this way. And this lifestyle is really interesting because but see, we know the physical ramifications of a drug using lifestyle. We can see it. It starts to destroy. But with these lifestyles around promiscuity, non-monogamy, like we're having basically uninhibited sex with whoever partners, that does not show the internal emotional and spiritual damage. So because we can't see it, we don't really know it. We only can feel what we know on the inside. But if somebody is saying, ooh, this is a nice lifestyle, you just need to try this, and you are not educated or not aware of how you can help yourself emotionally, and then you get tempted to go have this lifestyle that's going to hurt you even more. Oh, I just get mad at these people. I'm like, you are hurting people. You know how I know? Because they end up with me and I'm coaching them. And I'm so happy to coach people in these situations because I just want to like bring them in. So if you're in this lifestyle and you feel lost or hurt, I'm so happy to help you. I don't care if you're a prostitute. I want to help you. I actually do want to help prostitutes. I want to really get into why men hire them, what their experience is, and help women get out of that. It's like as soon as I can do this more and more, the more that the success of this grows, it's just going to take on so many other. I'm going to put on so many other hats and try to help as many people as I can, because I really don't see, as much as like, you might be like, oh, she's just anti everybody. Like, no, I see the individual. It's like, I'm disgusted by the lifestyle because I know how much it hurts, but like the actual human beings that are participating, I want them to have real fulfillment. I want them to actually be reached. So I don't care how messy you are, or if you don't even feel like you're messy, but if you feel like, I guess if you were to come to me, you would be admitting like, I don't feel fulfillment by this. And there are so many people that admit that. They are just, in fact, there is, I don't even want to give it a name. There is there's a person that promotes this lifestyle, not the same one on the podcast, a different one. And she said, when you commit to a non-monogamous lifestyle, you actually have to go through a process where you go against your body's natural chemicals to attach and bond. So there's a bonding process that happens during sex, even if it's somebody for the first time. And the bonding chemicals are the same ones that say, this person is mine, not yours. There's like this, like territorial chemicals and emotional chemicals bonding. Like you really, just from a scientific perspective, non-emotional, the physical and chemical reactions in your body that cause you to feel attached to that person. They say, if you want a non-monogamous lifestyle, you will have a painful process of separating and becoming numb or resisting that feeling in your body. And they actually teach you how to desensitize yourself. So what does that tell you? That isn't natural. If you have to do that, it's not natural. So don't tell me that non-monogamy is not natural or is natural when your chemicals in your body say the opposite. Like when science proves it, this is why I love how God set this up. It's like science proves it. Like you do develop feelings of attachment. And the people that don't, I think, are just the ones that are emotionally unavailable. They don't have self-awareness. They're not willing to say, I feel sad after. Those are the people that they want to keep filling the void. They want the drug. I mean, it's just like, when you try to quit smoking or you try to quit any drug, you justify it. Oh, I like it. It's fine. I don't really do it that much. You hear all the justifications. I'm not really ready right now. It's the same thing. Like when you don't want to work out, I'm just really busy right now. And I think like after this thing is over, I'm really going to commit. It's like, because they want the payoff. They want the thing that they get when they can have their drug. So whatever it is, it's just justification to continue it. But when people are really self-aware and they can say, I feel sad after, I feel like they don't want me. I feel like, I'm talking about people that are in these communes, they feel all these things. And as soon as they can recognize that feeling of, yeah, I don't feel good after this. Maybe in the moment it seems exciting, but afterwards it's like, it's not that exciting, because sex without intimacy, it's a gumball. It's a gumball. Yeah, it's fun for a while. It could be really fun for a while. Super exciting because it feels good to be wanted and desired. That feeling of desire, someone lusting after you, it feels good until you realize it's just that. And then now when I see a guy that's just lusting after me, it's like, you feel your ego temporarily get stroked for a second. And then it's like, yeah, but you don't really see me. And so it's just kind of like a flat response to me now, especially somebody who pretended that they were interested in the real you and they really just want you to give them the gumball. It's just like, it's hollow. It's very hollow. So I hope that this helps you. And maybe you're not even struggling with this and you're like, dude, I don't even know her. Melissa, calm down. What are you listening to? I'm always listening to people that are giving relationship advice and saying things to people. And I'm just like, it's just, I've talked to other therapists about this and other experts, and it's just, these random people that don't, just because you write a book does not make you an expert. Just because you have a PhD does not make you an expert in this area, because a PhD does not prevent you from having an addiction and trying to justify it. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes these people come up with these ideas, or they do studies to justify their own crap. It's like, but I'm sorry. It's just that at the end of the day, people want love. That's it. I mean, if you could really choose, okay, for the rest of your life, you can have no love, but you can have all the sex you want, but you will get no love. I guarantee you, when people really thought about that, they would be like, yeah, I'll take the no sex. And then, what if something happens? This is also just like, what if you get cancer and you can't have sex? Guy or girl, like let's say you get cancer and there is no possibility for you to have sex. What if you get paralyzed from the waist down and you're married? You get paralyzed. Then what? Think of like Michael J. Fox's wife who stands by him day in and day out. Do you think that it would be cool for her to say, I can't really get sex like I used to. So I think I'm really ready to explore my deepest desires as a woman. Disgusting. No, she stands by her husband because she's a phenomenal human being. And at the root of it, she knows what matters most is love and commitment and the intimacy and the friendship. Because you know what? After the 2 to 8 minutes of the average sexual experience, when you have intimacy, guess what you have? You have 24/7 or whatever, 23 hours and whatever, 52 minutes or 55 minutes or however long it lasted. Think of that. When you have intimacy, then you go way beyond 2 to 8. You get the 23 and then some. You get 23:45. We'll give the whole sexual experience 15 minutes from beginning to end. Maybe we'll even give it an hour. So what the other 23 is what you get with true intimacy. You get friendship, you get conversation, companionship, vacation partner, someone who cares about your job, someone who thinks about your goals, someone who spends time with your family, someone who wants to raise children with you, somebody who will adopt children with you, somebody who walks the dog, somebody who takes out the trash, who cleans up after themselves, who surprises you with stuff. It's like, you're going to tell me that people want their kinky sex more than they want that? No. And if they do, they're sociopaths. I mean, I'm sorry. Like if that's really what you want empty life with no other stuff. And some people would be like, no, Melissa, people want these things, but they just want the opportunity to just, explore once in a while. Yeah, because you're bored. Explore what? A different kind of orgasm? It's like, get over yourself. You know what I mean? Like, really, you need it. You need that bad. Really? Like, seriously. I mean, on your deathbed, are you going to be like, yeah, I really wish I would have explored the female orgasm just a little bit more? No, you're not going to say that. So sorry. They're like, oh, but the organ is there just for pleasure. So what? There's a lot of other things that are there too. Like, I mean, come on, like you have a uterus, it's there to make babies, but it doesn't mean you're going to just constantly be getting pregnant. Like our breasts are there to breastfeed, but are we always breastfeeding? No, we do it when we have babies and then that's it. It's like, there's a bigger purpose. There's a bigger point in life. And we cannot let these random, people that are fly by night. It's the same thing with dating advice where it's like, hey, this is what men really want. So sign up here and these tips and tricks. So it's like tips and tricks for what? To get some guy to manipulate somebody? Like I can control how he reacts. It's like, what happens on like Saturday night when he's kind of feeling like he has a fever and I sort of feel like I'm coming down with the same thing and we just lay on the couch. Like, then where are the tips and tricks? Like, then what? What is the relationship there? Or I talked to this guy who trained pickup artists and he was like, I go, so you train pickup artists? He was like, no, I mean, we want them to have real relationships. And I said, oh, okay. So what did you teach them after interaction 1? He just stared at me. I go, do you teach men if you're teaching them to have relationships, then I'm sure you're teaching them like what to do after they meet. And he was like, well, you just don't understand, Melissa, how hard it is for a guy to approach a woman. I said, I know, I'm just saying like after he's approached her and then you've taught him how to have that first conversation, then what? What about date 17? Did you teach him anything? Because he said we would have these guys come in and spend $3,000 on a weekend and teach them how to pick up women. Okay, great. So date 5, what'd you teach him? He goes, we didn't go that far. I'm like, right. So you taught him how to pick him up, how to get laid, but then nothing else after. Right. I go, so let's think about that guy. So he picked her up and he got sex, but now he doesn't know how to talk to her anymore. And he really wants to, but you taught him a game instead of how to be himself. So now he doesn't know who to be and he doesn't know if he's enough. So he just goes on to the next girl because that's all he knows how to do. You just taught him how to have no relationship. Sad. When you really think about this poor guy who's spending $3,000 for a weekend to get a date, and then all he knows how to do is pick her up or have an initial conversation. Reminds me of the line from Big Daddy. Initiating the conversation is half the battle from the Adam Sandler movie. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, initiating the conversation is difficult, but it's really difficult when you don't know how to have a conversation at all. And not knowing how to have a conversation is because you don't know yourself, and you don't know yourself because you haven't taken the time to really figure out who you are and what you like and what you love to talk about and what lights you up, so that when you're on a date, you talk about those things and you light up because you know what your passion is. You know what you're connected to. You know what you're here on this earth to do. I just get so fired up. I get fired up for the people caught up in this. I get fired up for the people that are getting tempted by it. It just is so sad to me that people can write these books and then people give them time to talk about it and then actually think it's interesting. It's like, this is not interesting. You guys, you know what? At the end of the day, this kinky stuff is boring. Like when I look at the Red Room in 50 Shades of Grey, it's like, again, okay, so now we're involving, it's just a lot of props and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, to me, like that looks boring. I don't understand why it has to be so complicated, and I don't know. That's a whole nother topic. And really what I think regarding all of that is that it's really up to the couple and what they decide to do behind closed doors. It's their business. So whatever you want to do, kinky or not, it's none of my business. And it's up to that couple to decide, but don't think by bringing other people in where you have no intimacy and you're just going to have an experience. It's just a gumball. So you just gotta look at it like, yeah, it might look exciting, but 2 to 8, then there's no 23/7. No, 23/7. no 24/7 with that person. You might have 60 minutes of an experience. Maybe if you get together and drink with them, like maybe you create an evening, but then you create an evening where you kind of getting to know them. Do be careful. Don't get to know them too fast. You don't want to spend too much time with them because then you might develop feelings. You know what I'm saying? And then, then you're going to complicate things because I thought this was supposed to be, just an adventure. Oh, wait, then we did develop feelings. Now we have something complicated. It's just like, what a freaking mess. What a mess. Because let's say you are a couple, just as a side note, and then what happens to the person that is the gumball, like the person that is the gumball? It's like you have a married couple and then the woman pursues a woman or the guy pursues a woman. It's like, what does she do when you as the couple are trying to figure out if you want to continue on this journey? She sits and waits. I actually have heard people being interviewed about this and they're like, yeah, I hooked up with this couple, but then they weren't sure what to do. And so while they were trying to figure it out, I was really hurt because I felt like they were rejecting me. I mean, this is the reality of this polygamy, polyamory, non-monogamy, whatever. Like the reality is people get their feelings hurt because it's not all it's cracked up to be. It gets really complicated. It gets really ugly. Even Neil Strauss, who wrote the book, The Game, he tried to create a commune where everybody could have sex with everyone in this whole commune. He told the story on Lewis Howes's podcast, School of Greatness, how finally in the commune, an ex-boyfriend of one of the girls living there came in with a coconut knife and was literally going to kill him. I mean, it was a serious thing where he was like, he found out his ex-girlfriend was in some sex commune and freaked out. And it was like, yeah, this whole idea of having open sex with random people, we're not wired to do this, you guys. We're not. Because if we were, it would just work. It wouldn't be super complicated. It's funny how, though, like two people getting together, having a relationship and remaining monogamous that are actually connected and have intimacy just seems to flow beautifully, flawlessly. You get the right people together, they stay together they have their 60, 70-year anniversary. Because it works. Friendship works. Intimacy works. That is backed in a hell of a lot of science. Go look at the Gottman Institute. They have it down to like a perfect science, down to over 90% accuracy where they can see the success of a couple over the long term. They know exactly what the ingredients are that actually make this work. So just keep in mind when people are studying animals it's like, who cares what the seahorses are doing? You're not a seahorse. You're not a fruit fly. You're not a monkey. It doesn't matter what they're doing because that's not your life. Okay. I mean, really, like, let's think about what works for you and let's think about what comes naturally to you. Do you get jealous when your boyfriend or girlfriend is talking to somebody else and potentially sleeping with somebody else? Like, yeah, this hurts our feelings. That's what's real. That's what's natural. Do we get jealous? Do we get our feelings hurt? Do we feel feelings of freaking rage and just crippling pain and heartache? Yes, that just comes without any thought, without any planning. It's just how we are wired. So I just want you to think about, when do people feel jealous? When do people are there people that have killed people because they found out that their husband or wife is cheating on them? Have people driven their cars over people because they get the rage that fills their body is absolutely overwhelming? Is that a natural feeling? Or is it, you know what I mean? Like, sorry, I just feel like that's what happens because we feel like we're unwanted, undesired. And that feeling of the pain of rejection is so powerful. It makes people do crazy things. Most of us can, keep it locked down. But at the extreme level, some people lose it. And so it just shows you how real those feelings are deep down. And that's what I want people to recognize. It's like, yeah, you can talk about the lifestyle and you can talk about all the exploration, blah, blah, blah. But what is the reality and how does it make people feel? And who does it hurt? And if it hurts, how many people, is it worth it? And especially if it's going to hurt you. And without me even telling you, it does. But I think it helps to hear people say this stuff out loud. Like, yeah, it hurts. And it hurts bad. And nobody wants it. And it's not that exciting. It's just not. I mean, any girl that's watched porn, it's so boring to women because most women aren't watching it. And it's fake because we can watch it as women and go, yeah, that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. It's like, it doesn't represent anything that women really desire. This is a show for men. And so it's it's all a facade when you really think about it. Sex, for some reason, always sells because it's like the forbidden and it has this intensity behind it. But we just have to remember 2 to 8 minutes. It's the average sexual experience. And 40% of men over 40 have erectile dysfunction, which is a whole other podcast. But the reality is erectile dysfunction and the sales of Viagra, I don't know if Viagra is causing it or if the overconsumption of pornography and the overstimulation, but that's the reality of what's going on behind closed doors. So more than likely, the man you end up with is going to have erectile dysfunction. It's climbing to almost half. Almost half. The older they get, the more likely they will have erectile dysfunction. So I know that that's not sexy, but I'm just saying it's like that's the reality. That's the reality. And so if we place all of our emphasis on this idea that everything should be hot and amazing and intense, and it's not the reality. It's not what's important. It's not what's fulfilling. It's not what's going to make you happy. Ultimately, your happiness comes from all of the good stuff that comes from true, unconditional love. I'm going to leave you there. Again, this is Melissa Ledger with Gumball Love. Thank you for tuning in. If you can leave a review, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Find me on social media. I'm at the Melissa Ledger on Instagram, TheMelissaleger, Facebook.com/Coach Melissa Ledger, and email me, melissa@gumballlove.com. I knew I was forgetting something. So yeah, melissa@gumballlove.com. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.